What is up, you guys? This is All Danny Day 1 on the PS4, and I'm going to be giving you an Omega gear build for Psylocke. So, let's go ahead and check out the gear that I'm going to recommend. Now, there are 30 different Omega gear sets that you could use. A lot of them doesn't work well for Psylocke. For example, there are ones that are strictly for fire or ice or force damage or teleports, etc., etc. Those won't work for Psylocke because she doesn't use those. But now, here's the sets that will help, and I'm going to just give you mix and matches of the set, the set combos, I suppose. So, on my weapon, I have the Mark of War. You don't need a Mark of War on your weapon. You can have it on any of the 5 pieces of your gear. But just keep in mind, you need the Mark of War. This is going to help you put out a ton of damage. I don't want to say the bad word, just in case, I don't want to get in trouble. So, you want to have the Mark of War because this is going to stack up a ton of base damage for you. You will get 100% base damage increase when you use this. Every time you hit your enemies with the sword damage, you get a 5% base damage increase, and it stacks up to 20 times, and it lasts for 10 seconds. Now, if you keep hitting the enemy, the timer restarts every single time. And it's not just that, but your projections also count towards these the stacks. So it's going to be really easy for you to build up your stacks really fast. You just have to make sure you're using this this talent in your trees, in your ability trees. You have to make sure you're using cut once. Do not use Sai Katana, don't use Tsunami Aftermath. You want to use cut once because this is going to guarantee you on melee damage, and you're going to also get an increase in melee powers as well. Don't worry about Tsunami Slash, you're not going to need that. Now, so with the Mark of War, like I said, you're going to get an increase in 100% base damage. Not just that, on the very bottom it says if you have the Armor of Apocalypse while Weapons of War is at max stacks, reduce the cooldown of your signature by 15%. So that right there is going to help you a lot as well if you have the Armor of Apocalypse. Now, a great way to combo that is if you have a cosmic artifact, doesn't matter what type, just a cosmic artifact. This one, obviously I don't have the right cosmic item affix, but the one that would definitely help is if you can get that cosmic affix changed to signature cooldowns reduced by 15%. So that way your total cooldown reduction for your signature is at 30%. That's gonna help your Psylocke a lot because the ethereal butterflies does a lot of damage by itself already, and it hits 30 times, and it can also heal you. So when in those clutch moments, that's gonna help you a lot with your survivability. And now with the bodysuit, you have Armor of Apocalypse. When you use your ultimate power, gain power overwhelming, increasing all attributes by 25 for 20 seconds. If you have the Mark of Pestilence, increases your base damage by 100%. We're not going to be using that though. You could possibly use that, but for right now you're not. If you have the Mark of War, which we have, all attacks will become critical hits during power overwhelming. So when you use your ultimate, you will get automatic crits. And not just that, with the base Armor of Apocalypse, when you use your ultimate, you get 25 in both in all your main attributes, in all your attributes, which means you get 25 in both your main attributes. That's 50 in total. That means you're getting 200% base damage increase for 20 seconds. So make sure, what I normally do is I don't use my ultimate until I get to the boss, or if I'm at an event, a patrol event, then I use it there as well. Yeah. So Armor of Apocalypse and the Mark of War. And the next one would be Oath of the Destroyer. So I have that on my accessory and my utility. So the oath of the oath of the destroyer, it gives you, it says each critical strike with melee powers builds stack of rage. When 50 rage stacks are reached, they are consumed to trigger destroyer's wrath, increasing your brutal strike chance by 100% for 5 seconds. And then the second piece is going to increase your brutal damage by 50%. Now if you have the second piece and the fourth piece, then you're going to have up to 100% brutal damage. If you have if you have only up to 3 pieces, then that means your rage stack is going to be reduced to 40 instead of having to get to 50. But you know, getting the stacks isn't a problem at all, especially with Psylocke, because the projections also apply stacks whenever they critically hit. So whenever they critically hit with their melees, and the projections pretty much do only melee attacks. So you definitely want to have at least 2 of those Oath of the Destroyer pieces. That way you're able to get obviously the first part, and then you want to get that increase in brutal damage. That's going to help a lot. Now, if you don't have an Armor of Apocalypse, or you just don't like the Armor of Apocalypse, then I would recommend using Gamora's Garments. Now, if you have Gamora's Garments, or if you want to go with Gamora's Garments, you want to have at least 2 of these pieces. Just like with the Oath of the Destroyer, you want to have 2 of the Gamora's Garments. Now, the reason why is because Gamora's Garments does exactly the same thing, pretty much, that Oath of the Destroyer does, except it's for critical damage only. So on the first perk, it says every non-critical hit causes you to gain focus, increasing your chance to critical hit by 1%. This bonus resets when you critically hit. And then the second piece, you get 50% crit damage bonus. And then the third piece, it adds a 0.5% to the stack, and then the fifth piece adds another 0.5%, so you're at a total of 2%. But regardless, the first 2 pieces is very important for Gamora's Garments and Oath of the Destroyer. That's if you're gonna go with that. You're always gonna want to have the Mark of War though. No matter what, you always want to have the Mark of War, because that's 100% base damage increase right there. So for the artifact, the legendary items, you have 3 different legendary items that are pretty much best in slot. So you have Hermes Wing Sandals. I personally don't use Hermes Wing Sandals unless I'm using it to build up dash stacks. So you can use the Hermes Wing Sandals to build up your dashes. You can have as many dashes as possible, as much as you'd like. But I also use it when I'm leveling up a character, when I'm leveling up Psylocke with her Omega Prestige. This does amazing work. Like, you'll be able to get through the story super fast. You'll be able to get to each treasure room fast. Just it helps a lot. And the damage as well, it helps as well, because you're getting 3,000 movement power damage and 1,500 crit hit, 2 movement powers, and 100% movement speed. And the next one is Savage Acts of Avarice. You do not need to get this maxed out, because the rank 5 is pure trash. It sucks. But the first 4 ranks are incredibly great, like amazing, because that gives you a ton of stats. So you get 1,500 crit hit rating, 2 movement powers, and you're already using like half of your loadout is movement. And then you also get 2,500 brutal damage rating and 1,500 brutal strike rating, which helps you so much when it comes to damage. And then rank 1 obviously helps too, because you get 750 damage rating to all your melee powers. Now, for Psylocke's Omega Prestige Legendary, which is called the Shurayuki, it gives you, it says your signature has a 10% chance of resetting its cooldown when it's used. I think that applies only when it's used, like off its initial use, not off of each hit, because that would be pretty crazy. You'd be able to get your signature back every time. But rank 1, you get 12% base damage to both ranged and melee powers. Rank 2, you get 5% deflect chance. Rank 3, you get 1,000 crit hit rating. Rank 4 you get plus 5 fighting, which means you're getting 20% base damage increase. Rank 5, every non-critical hit increases your damage by 0.5%. This bonus resets when you critically hit. So that definitely, that 5th rank will definitely help out. Kind of. I mean, this build is the Omega build set is pretty much built around doing crits, or trying to, yeah, putting out crits so that way you can put out brittles. So rank 5 might not be that great for you, but getting up to rank 4 is going to definitely help. But for this particular build, I would definitely say Savage Acts of Ares is going to be the best option for you, because of the fact that it gives you high brutal damage increase, and it gives you that 1500 crit hit to your movement powers, and 1500 brutal strike rating. But then again, the Shirayuki gives you 1000 crit hit to all of your abilities. So it's not just to movement powers, but it's to all of your abilities. Now, for my medallion, I was thinking more along the lines, sticking with Juggernaut medallion, because you're going to always increase your damage. But I was also thinking that the Sinister 6 medallion, I believe that's what it's called, would work just as well if you're using the let me see. So if you're using the Armor of Apocalypse, so when you use the Armor of Apocalypse, you have to use your ultimate. Pretty much have to use your ultimate. And then with Medallion of the Sinister 6, it says if both signature and ultimate effects are active, you gain +2 to all attributes for 3 minutes. That's 3 minutes, not 20 seconds. So you get +2 to all attributes for 3 minutes, which is not bad. So what? That's 16% base damage increase right there. And then you also get crit hit, damage rating, and health. But then on the bottom it says when you use your signature power, you gain 883 damage rating to your ultimate powers for 10 seconds. When you use your ultimate power, gain 589 damage rating to your signatures. So the Medallion of the Sinister 6 would definitely be a good mix with the Armor of Apocalypse whenever you decide to use your ultimate. Now, if you do use this, I would recommend that you try to max out your ultimate upgrade as well. I'm not even close to maxing out my ultimate upgrade on my Psylocke. I'm only at rank 2. But if you could get to rank 20 or even 15 or 10, that'll be perfect. The less time you have for your ultimate cooldown, the better it'll be for you, the more beneficial it'll be. Not just that, you can also use your infinity points to reduce the ultimate cooldown right here from power overwhelming. I don't know what, I'll actually check real quick to see how much, what the cap would be. I'm not sure what the cap is. Probably, no, maybe 10%, I don't know. It does, I can't even reach the cap because I don't have enough infinity points for it. But that's pretty much all with this build. I will show you guys how the damage will look like, and like what the stacks are going to look like, and what the numbers will look like. Not necessarily the numbers, but you'll see with how it all works out. Actually, yeah, I'll do it on here. So with the, what's it called, the Mark of War, I'm just going to use my X, and you're going to see an axe pop up on the bottom of the screen. So you can see it has a number. The numbers are going to keep going up. I didn't realize that because of the damage over time. So anytime you apply damage over time with your Falling Lotus strike, is because it's doing bleed damage. That I guess that technically also applies as sword damage. So you're always gonna have that 20 stacks. You're always gonna have that 100% base damage increase. So as you can see, my damage, or my base damage, is at 324% now instead of 224, or 2 something. It's not 224. Now I'm going to try to get as many crits as I can, and then you'll see a bunch of red numbers pop up. When you start seeing a bunch of red numbers pop up, that means the here, let me switch to Gamora's garments. That means the Oath of the Destroyer is active. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing all this. And that right there, you're seeing a bunch of red numbers right there. That's because of the Oath of the Destructor, and that's why I'm saying like that is going to help you so much, not just with ad clearing. It's gonna help you with bosses. It's gonna help you with so much, in total. Hopefully, you know, you guys can find your right pieces. I kind of got lucky, well, not kind of. I got really lucky with finding these pieces. I'm still looking, and I'm trying to find even better pieces that have perfect rolls, like the perfect stats, like crit hit, crit damage, and brutal damage. I'm not, with this particular build, do not worry about going for brutal strike. You don't want to worry about going for brutal strike on any of your stats. So if you have 0 brutal strike, that is completely fine. You want to have as much crit hit as you can possibly get. You want to build up as much critical strike chance, crit chance as much as you can, so that way you can apply the brutal damage or the guaranteed brutal strikes pretty much all the time. So that's basically it with this video. Hopefully this helped you out at all. If it did, go ahead and leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you're looking for other builds or Omega build sets or combo sets or whatever, let me know. I will be working on a few other characters, like possibly Iceman, Scarlet, Kitty Pryde, Nightcrawler, Spider-Man. I mean, I have a good chunk of characters that are already through Omega Prestige or Omega Trials, but I also have a good chunk of characters that are not. So if you ask for a specific character, like let's say Moon Knight, I won't have Moon Knight. If you ask for someone like maybe, let's say Ghost Rider, I might have Ghost Rider, because I have Ghost Rider through his, but I just haven't done any of my Omega difficulty content with him yet. But yeah, that's basically it. If you have any questions, concerns, leave that down in the comment section, or you can also message me on Twitter at alldayanyday1. And yeah, that's basically it. So like I said, if this helped you out, then leave a like, comment, subscribe. This is All Day and Day 1 on the PS4. Have a good day, good night, and peace.